Hey guys, we can see today we're seeing a bit of weakness in the semiconductor equipment companies. We can see Applied Materials is down roughly 3.5% pre-market, ASML is down roughly 6%, Lam Research is down roughly 2.8%, and CLAC is down roughly 3.5%. So there are two reasons for this overall drop. First is going to be some of the exports that we talked about earlier on, and the company did just release some preliminary results thanks to that. Also, we do have a big company, TSMC, that just reported earnings, and I do believe something they said there is affecting the stocks. So let's take a closer look.
I do want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
So let's take a closer look at Applied Material. This is ticker AMAT. We can see in the past 5 days is down roughly 14.5%, and pre-market is down another 3.5%. For those not familiar with Applied Material, this is a company that sells equipment for the manufacturing process of semiconductors. And like I mentioned in the previous episode, the United States has recently kind of increased some of their exports restrictions or export bans that kind of are pushing certain companies to require a license to sell to countries like China. So on October 12th, Applied Materials actually revised their fourth quarter, which is ending on October 30th. The main reason, on October 7th, 2022, the United States government announced new export regulations for US semiconductor technology sold in China. And thanks to this, they are kind of reducing their fourth net sales by approximately $400 million, plus or minus $150 million. So right, Applied Materials is one of the first ones to kind of release some form of revision or kind of give some form of preliminary results with this kind of export bans. But the fear is that some of the other semiconductor companies that are dealing in the equipment aspect are going to be doing the same thing. I do want to say their new revised quarter, even though they estimated a $400 million hit thanks to this new rule, their revised outlook is only $250 million lower than previously stated. And the main reason being is that the outlook reflects the impact of the new export regulations. That's why it was going down, but it was partially offset by supply chain performance improvements. So they are still seeing some growth there. It does seem like supply chain improvements are happening, which is overall, if this kind of regulation didn't happen, Applied Materials would have definitely been in their kind of guidance that they saw. The company also mentions that the new regulations will impact net sales in the first quarter of fiscal 2023, so that starts on November 1st, by a similar amount as in the current quarter. So this is pretty interesting. So right now, these regulations are going to affect $400 million, but it's only affecting the last month of this quarter. But at the same time, they are saying that, hey, for the next 3 months, it's also going to affect us by $400 million. So I thought that was pretty interesting to hear there. But I do want to say this kind of fear is what's kind of causing a lot of these other stocks like ASML, Lam Research, CLAC, and obviously AMAT to kind of be down on the day, as all these companies in one way or another deal with the semiconductor manufacturing process. And if you are enjoying the episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up, as it does help me grow my overall audience. If you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. Other thing that is affecting these stock prices, and I do believe this one is also a big impact, is TSMC, the huge semiconductor manufacturing, just reported earnings. TSMC did say on the press release for their most recent earnings that moving into the fourth quarter of 2022, they expect their business to be flattish. They also made some changes to their capital expenditure, and I do want to say this is going to be the biggest hit and the most impact on those semiconductor equipment companies, right? Because this money here is what they spend on the manufacturing equipment itself. So originally, TSMC for this year was expected to spend somewhere between $40 to $44 billion. Now they're saying with kind of everything that's happening, they might be slowing down a little bit, and now they're expected to spend $35 billion. $35 billion is still a lot, but if it would have been closer to that $44 billion, that's about a $10 billion change in there, which obviously would have gone to companies like ASML, with Lam Research, and those others. So I do believe some of those semiconductor equipment companies are a bit fearful, but I do want to say this is more of a short-term thing. If I personally was invested in any of those semiconductor equipment companies, I wouldn't be worried, because in the long term of things, there's huge tailwinds affecting the semiconductor market and the semiconductor manufacturing process. So a lot of short pain here, but I do believe in the long term things still look pretty impressive, and I personally wouldn't sell if I held any of these positions. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.